Mike, what are the emotions, I guess, that you're dealing with this week as you get ready for your final home game at Neyland Stadium?
I'm not really looking at it as my last home game. I'll worry about that after the season and worry about those emotions and those feelings. Right now we're trying to get win number 5 and just focus on, beating Vandy and preparing for him this week. And, we know we got a nice test ahead of us. But we're right now we're worried about focusing on preparing for them and going out on Saturday and getting win number 5.
Michael, last year's Vandy game, last year even in the losses, you guys were competitive and were in it to the end. And Vandy was the one game where it just seemed like things kind of fell apart early. What do you think happened last year?
I think they just outplayed us. I think that was kind of evident. But we don't look at this game and compare it to last year's game. Different team, different season. We know Vandy's a very, very good team. They've had some successful wins this year, and we're just trying to make sure that we kind of play our best game, and we haven't played our best game yet this year. So we're hoping that to get win number 5, we can play our best game against them.
How has the nature of this rivalry changed from the time you got on campus to now, just in terms of when you hear from other students about Vanderbilt and stuff like that? Do you sense there's a change?
Well, playing in the SEC, every SEC team is your rival. Every game is a rivalry game, no matter who you're playing, no matter where you're playing or what time of the year you're playing. So we just gotta kind of take it one game at a time, and the biggest thing is just not worrying about past years or what people have said and the results that have come in past years, like I said, and just kind of take it this game as the only game and trying to get win number 5.
Mike, why do you think this has been your best year on a consistency basis since you arrived at Tennessee?
Why? I think that I've just I say it a lot that I've just built a lot more confidence in myself. The coaches have built a lot more confidence in me, and it kind of shows. It shows in practice, putting me in situations where I'm under pressure to kind of simulate those game time plays to where I have to perform to my capabilities, and that's kind of been the biggest thing for me, is just going out there and being as consistent as possible, making sure that I make plays, whether it's punting, changing field position, pitting them deep, or putting points up on the board and field goals.
Michael, sometimes it's conventional wisdom that coaches like having specialists, one guy doing kickoffs, one guy doing punts. Does this year kind of prove that if it's handled right, that one guy can do everything and make it work?
Yeah, it's kind of very unconventional, but going into spring, that was my goal, was to be the starter at all 3, to be as competitive as possible, because I knew that guys behind me that were younger than me, whatever situation may be, they wanted to come in and take my spot, and and I had to do my best to make sure that I didn't allow that. Whatever I had to do to make sure that didn't happen. I just wanted to go out and perform the best way that I could ever since Coach Jones got in here in spring, and it kind of worked out for the best.
Michael, there have been times throughout this season where Coach Jones and the players come out and said, the bowl game is the ultimate goal. He said today that measuring this season alone on that is superficial. Is there a shift in focus at some point, or is that still kind of the main goal for you guys, or
we know that one of our program goals is to make it to a bowl game and win the bowl game. That's ultimately what every team in college football wants, is to make it to a bowl game, win a bowl game. But we can't get to a bowl game if we don't win game number 5, and that's kind of the biggest focus right now, is taking it one game. Obviously, we have an ultimate goal. We want to reach that goal, but there's different steps you have to take to be able to get there. And that's kind of the biggest thing that we're focusing on, is Coach Jones always says you can't get to 6 if you don't get to 5 first. So that's kind of been the biggest thing. But like I said, ultimately, yes, we have that goal of going to a bowl game, but we have to make sure that, we play our best football for the next 2 games.
After the Vanderbilt game last year, obviously they won it handily. What were your thoughts? What do you remember when you walked off the field that night?
To be honest with you, I don't remember much. I try not to remember it. It was kind of a disappointing season, on all accounts, and from me personally, I just wanted to make sure that something like that never happened ever again. On national television, getting beat like that, is something that you don't want to happen. So I just remember being upset, but at the same time telling myself that do everything I possibly can to make sure that something like that never happens again.
And also there was rumors swirling around about your coach at that point too. Was that a distraction?
No, not at all. I mean, for me personally, I don't know about other guys on the team, but I can speak for myself when I say that there was no distraction. We just had to go out and we had to, play the way that we knew how to last year, but, we just didn't come out successful.
Anything else? Okay, we are expecting to have Gene.
James, have you given much thought about what it's going to be like to kind of play your final home game?
I've tried really not to think about that as much and tried to just approach this how we've been approaching all our other games, and I feel like I can think about that part later on after the fact. But right now, I'm just trying to focus on being prepared as I can for the football game.
Is it hard not to think about that?
I mean, maybe when you get outside of camp, like off campus, but once you get into the complex and you're around the guys on the team and you see everybody else focused on the football game, it's easier to get focused when you're around the team. So I'm trying to spend as much time as I can in the complex and on film and in school, so I can just keep myself occupied and ready to go.
Do you think of Vandy differently now than you did maybe 4 years ago, or just growing up in Nashville in general as a program?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they got a great program right now. They play hard, they play for each other, and they garnered a lot of respect for that.
Is it a tough thing for a competitor to accept? I mean, the senior class being part of a rebuild instead of what your original goals were when you first got here?
No, it's not as tough as it seems. Just because when you got somebody leading you like Coach Jones and you see the things that he's trying to institute for a program that you love, that you take pride in that, and you take pride in trying to help build what he's trying to build because you see something special there.
Do you sense there's a different perception of this rivalry now when you're on campus, when you're back home in Nashville? Do you sense that people kind of think this is more competitive now than maybe when you first got here?
I believe so. I feel like it is.
What was being home this past year like after that game last year? Did you have a little ribbon?
I did. It was a little bit of ribbon going on. I don't know. I wasn't out that much, but when I was home, it was a little bit of ribbon.
Has there been, I guess, a couple of, maybe cadence issues the past couple of weeks since Dobbs has been a quarterback? Has that been different for you, or has there been a common theme with some of those plays?
Not really. It's just been sometimes a guy not hearing or something like that. I'll be a little still in the process of making a call or something, but we've been working on that and we've been talking that through to try to eliminate those issues.
Is it kind of surprising, because y'all kind of been playing together for so long and had everything kind of down to a science, and then for something like that to pop up, is that just weird the past couple weeks?
Yeah, it's just weird, and this is something you got to eliminate. We've been doing extra stuff after practice with him just on timing and making sure that everybody's getting on the ball at the same time so we can make sure that doesn't happen anymore in the game.
In general, how do you feel the offensive line has done this season in terms of dealing with all the expectations there were before the year?
I feel like guys have been hungry this year. I feel like everybody's been trying to work and been trying to improve as the year go on, and as we do play and as we went through the games, we've been trying to address what inefficiencies we did have, we have going forward.
James, back to those pre-snap penalties. You guys hardly had any problems with them all year, and then a couple the last game. And then in addition to cadence, and how important is it that you eliminate them here down the stretch with such little margin for error?
I feel like it's extremely important because, like, one of the things we hang our hat on is being a disciplined football team. And pre-snap errors do nothing. They kill drives and they kill series, and they keep us from putting points up on the board. And going forward, we need as many points as we can.
James, both you and Juwan James, really since you got in here, have played nearly every game, started nearly every game. In your case and his, I think almost every game. How tough is that to do over the course of a 4-year career, just both health-wise and coming in as a true freshman and playing a lot?
I mean, at first, you get kind of banged up along the way. But I feel like you get a lot of experience, and it lets you get, you just get a lot of experience and a better appreciation for the game and the work it puts into. And as you get older, I feel like you kind of realize the importance of recovery and taking care of your body at an earlier age. Because I know after a while you get tired of just, you learn how to go to the training room and stuff like that and things of that nature.
We're not going to have any one-on-ones, so if there's any other questions,
Just being a Nashville guy, what does this game mean something extra to you just because having grown up in Nashville?
I mean, outside, probably after the game it will, but right now I'm trying to approach this as a process as I do for every game, as well as the whole team. We're trying to approach this and take this game very seriously for the rivalry that it is, but we're not really trying to let any extra emotional factors get into the game. We're just trying to focus on doing our job so we can go out there and execute.
I mean, 3 of the starting linemen are from Nashville. I mean, how much have y'all talked about this game from the start of the season, or has this been a game y'all been focusing on because of your background?
We talked about it a little bit, but we're really just focusing on this because it's our next game up, and it's the next game that we need in order to get this team to a bowl game.
How important is that, James? Just bottom line, did you guys find a way somehow, some way to win enough to get to a bowl game?
Man, it's extremely important, man. I feel like in this first year going forward for Coach Jones and for this football team, for the senior class, we need to do anything we can to make it to a bowl game.
The loss to Vandy last year seemed to really strike a nerve with the fans. What do you recall about the reaction after that loss to the in-state school?
I just remember it was bad, and I tried to do my best to just erase that.
What did it feel like coming off the field? I mean, because that's such a big game for Tennessee.
I couldn't. It was just a letdown and disappointment.
Can you compare the 2 off weeks y'all had? What do you think? Y'all came off that first off week so well.
I feel like we had a great off week this past week. I feel like guys were really focused coming in for the practices. So I feel good about the off week we had.
Which is really good coming out of open dates. I mean, I know you just had the one under and now this one. But what do you look for out of your head coach during the open day as players? What do you guys need to see from him?
I mean, we look for him to stay on us and keep focusing on things that we need to improve like he does all the time. He does a great job of letting guys know what they need to improve, and he gives you encouragement where you're doing good, but he lets everybody know what they need to improve in order for us to function as we need to and play complementary football.
Do you notice a big difference in these 2 open dates under Butch versus the open dates your previous 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, structure-wise, yeah, I can notice the difference.
Anything else? Okay, guys, thank you.
Thanks.